Welcome to the Port's Garrison. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Greetings. Welcome to the Port's Garrison. I am PD Poet. Now, what's on my mind today? What's provoking my thoughts? Yesterday, Tuesday, March 14, while I was watching the opposition leader Mark Golding presentation in the budget debates in Parliament, he made a statement. He said that he had heard of government plans to develop a for-profit prison. Now, a for-profit prison is a place where people are imprisoned by a third party that is contracted by the government. Now, this statement by the opposition leader did not sit well with members of the government side. And they were up in arms. They were outraged. The first person to have gotten up was the Minister of National Security, Dr. Chang, who got up saying that Golding was misleading the House. He was followed by the Prime Minister raising a point of order and asking that the opposition leader withdrew the point. After a lot of back and forth and interaction with the speaker, who was going to be going to the Ansar to see what he had said, the opposition leader agreed to withdraw the point. I think he withdrew it just not to delay the proceedings or his presentation on a matter of semantics or technicality. I'm not, apart from that, I'm not really sure why he withdrew the point. Now, here is a clip showing the exchanges.
A worrying development is this plan we've been hearing a bit about to develop a for-profit prison in Jamaica and to use taxpayers' money to facilitate it. Very little has been disclosed to the public about this plan, other than the government announcing that they've identified 300 acres of land in St. Catherine for a new purpose-built correctional facility via a public-private partnership. And from this public-private partnership, necessarily there has to be a return on investment for the private investors. That's why I say for profit, Prime Minister. In the US, they call this approach.
One point of information, Madam Speaker. The member speaking to, I've interrupted you, please, but there is no plan or any articulation of any prison for profit, right, to be built, right? Which is what you have implied. Absolutely none. It's misleading the House. You're misleading the House. It's not been said even in jest.
Madam Speaker, I made the point that what we heard is going to happen is there's going to be a public-private partnership to build a new maximum security prison. And I went on to say that from you have a public-private partnership, necessarily the private investors are going to require a return on their investment, which is the profit of which I'm speaking. That's what I said. And
all right.
Madam Speaker, in the US, well, when you can clarify, but this is what various.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, and I do loathe doing this in the presentation of the Leader of the Opposition, but I believe that the point that the Leader of the Opposition raised to suggest that the government is going to build a prison for profit, which are the words he uttered, is dangerous and misleading and ought to be corrected immediately. The government has never contemplated that. It has never been thought of. It is in no policy of the government. And for the Leader of the Opposition to say that without evidence, without quoting a document, it is dangerous and misleading and has to be dealt with immediately. And I urge the Leader of the Opposition, as I know he is gentleman enough, to withdraw that statement.
Madam Speaker, what we have been told is that this prison is going to be built as a public-private partnership. That's what we've been told. We have never had, the Minister of State, it has been reported and in the media. public-private partnership. That has been stated publicly by the Minister of State who has responsibility for prisons. My point is, if it's a public-private partnership, that suggests that the private partner is going to be looking to make a return on it. That is why I said what I said. And Madam Speaker, more information and more transparency around what is intended would be welcome, because the way in which it has been brought across so far raises concerns. It's as simple as that. I will move on, Madam Speaker.
No, you won't just move on. A point of order has been made. If indeed the impression is that the government is building what were your exact words? Probably I should get that from Hanshat, because if you have said it is for profit, then it is wrong, and it is a wrong signal to send. So, Ms. Curtis, can I have what was said from Hanshat?
Thank you. Madam Speaker, this is the report that this was on December 8th, 2022.
I want to know what was said.
The government has given its clearest indication.
Remember, yes. I am speaking. I said a point of order was raised. Yes. As the Speaker, I must rule whether or not. And to do so, I need to hear from Hanshat what was said. Answer.
Madam Speaker, I am prepared to clarify. When I said for profit, I was referring to the private-public partnership that the government has given a clear indication that it is proceeding with, or it's at least considering a private-public partnership to build a state-of-the-art prison. And a private-public partnership necessarily involves the private element in that partnership earning a return on their investment. That is what I was saying. And I've said as well that if that is not the case...
Member,
yeah.
I am saying this afternoon that I'm waiting on what Hansard has said. A point of order... point of order has been raised.
The Prime Minister asked me to withdraw the comment about for-profit. I will withdraw it.
Well, if you withdraw it,
because it is ridiculous. It would be ridiculous to hold up these proceedings while you go and refer to Hansard as to what I said. The crux of the matter is...
Member, hold a minute. Members of the House, everybody. It is clear. No, please, don't do that, member. If a point of order has been raised in this House by anybody, it is my duty to respond to it, and I could not respond. Now that the member has said he will withdraw it, we may go ahead. But it is wrong. I'm not going to do it. I can't rule on something that I'm not sure what was said. But the member has now withdrawn it, and therefore we can move ahead.
Madam Speaker, we would ask that the Prime Minister use the earliest possible opportunity to clarify the nature of this public-private partnership in relation to the building of a prison. And in particular, how the private element in that partnership will receive a return on investment, which is normally called a profit. But I'm not saying that this is a for-profit prison. It's a private-public model. We want to understand how that works and whether that will protect the interests of the people of Jamaica in having a prison system that allows rehabilitation as a foremost concern to bring down this 40% rate of persons leaving prison and coming back, reoffending. That is what I'm talking about.
Now that was pretty testy, I'm sure you would agree. As I said, the uproar by the government members, to my mind, made no sense. So I did a quick Google search, and here's what I found from a Gleaner story dated December 8th, 2022. And the headline said, "Government not ruling out public-private prison." The government has given its clearest indication that it is not adverse to considering a public-private partnership to build a state-of-the-art prison. The disclosure was made on Wednesday by Xavier Main, the State Minister in the Ministry of National Security, who has general oversight of the correctional services. This follows a recent Gleaner report that the government received an unsolicited bid from a prominent Jamaican developer to construct a $30 billion prison on 300 acres in Artland, St. Catherine. Stating that the options are being explored, Main said that a joint venture is not something that I would say the government is not prepared to consider. What affords us the best avenue to run a modern, effective and efficient facility is something the government will want to take on board, he said. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has endorsed public-private partnerships as an integral plank of his administration's development focus. He recently announced the government's intention to construct a new maximum security prison to house high-risk inmates that may still be directing violence. Now, I couldn't understand what the uproar is. Is it a technicality? Did he say, because he says for profit prison? So my question is, as they said in the article, it's a joint venture. So it's public and private. Now, the public would be taxpayers' money. The private would be an independent, but the developers putting in their portion of the money. And they're not putting in the money because they want to lock up some people. They're putting in the money in there because they're intending and want to get a return on their investment. They're developing the facilities, and then maybe down the road they will run the facilities. We're not sure because the government has not said. And when they rose in the House to call a point of order, they did not give any explanation as to what how they intended to do this or what the intentions are. So the government really not take people for idiot. They rose up in anger over semantics. It's like they were trying to split hairs. And to my mind, Golden should have stood his ground. Now, a private prison is run by a corporation. And that corporation, end goal, is to make profit from anything. And every company in the world wants to make profit from whatever they are dealing with. So, in this whole thing, the government is showing that they are dishonest. They are divorced from honesty and integrity. Now, the prisons in Jamaica are inhumane, a lot of them, and they need to be modernized and get all of that. But if you have in a prison that people are investing in and want a return on their investment, who do you want to think that, well, we're going to get more prisoners in there as much as possible? We want to get them longer sentences in there so they can stay in there longer. I mean, how is it going to work? Are they going to be, the prisoners going to be working and the money that they make go to the developers? Or we don't know. But to me, it sounds like there's something that the government need to come out and explain to the people. And I don't think Mark Golden should have withdrawn the statement, but he did it. And I guess in time, we will understand what really is going on. But because in the US, for example, private prisons, prisons for profit are very popular. And I think I saw where Biden recently is trying to cut down on the government's engagement or association with them. He has directed the Department of Justice to limit or not renew license or contracts with them. So it's something that the rest of the world is getting away from. And if the government hear the opposition saying it's for profit prison, and people might be thinking, oh, you're going to catch poor people and lock them up so they can make money off the government for political reasons, the government might not want that out there. So it is the onus is now on the government to come out and say exactly what it is. Jaja. Them still not take for food. Well, that bothered my mind for a bit. Well, until the next time, until something else grabs my attention, it's always one love, one heart. Blessings and guidance, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Until next time, all good.
Thanks for watching.